Throughout this week, we've been talking about how to believe God for a new season. And one of the areas that we need to trust God in is His ability working in us and through us. And there's a word for that in the Bible, and it's called grace. Now, grace is certainly supernatural empowerment, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But grace is also unmerited, undeserved favor. You know, there's a wonderful thing that occurs when we trust God. He's able to show us mercy. He's able to show us grace. And He's able to move and position us into a new season simply because of His grace and mercy towards us. We may not deserve it. We may find ourselves, as we trust God, in positions of leadership and positions of importance simply because there's the favor of God on our lives. And when we enter into those new seasons and we find favor, what you must do is you must stay with grace. Stay relying on the abundance of grace working in you and through you. Now, there's a great scripture in Romans 5:17 that says this: much more surely will those who receive God's overflowing grace, His unmerited favor, and the free gift of righteousness will reign as kings in life through the one man, Jesus Christ. It's not enough to just enter into a season. What we need to do is, once we enter into that season, often by the grace and mercy of God, in that season, that's when we must draw on, we must receive the grace of God to reign in our lives. Now, what does that really look like? Well, one thing it looks like is when you find yourself doing well and you find there's a grace in you to do the job, don't start calling it things like imposter syndrome or luck, or start ascribing the God-given talents in you to just, well, it's not important. Don't downplay that. Recognize the grace of God at work in your life. And don't label it incorrectly as, for example, imposter syndrome. Put that aside and begin to see the grace that is at work in you and celebrate that grace. Receive that grace, and you will reign in life in this fresh new season. And remember, you're highly favored and you're deeply loved.